Welcome back to another edition of Home Climbing Wall TV. I'm your host, Chris Gonzalez, and in this week's episode, we're introducing new ways to get bonus entries for our giveaways. So make sure you watch all the way till the end of this video to get the lowdown on that. In the meantime, let's head to Denver, Colorado and catch up with climbing content creator, Josh Cox.
Hello, I'm Josh, and this is my garage climbing wall. Welcome, come on in. I run Real World Climbing. It started off as a blog and now it is a YouTube channel. And this is my fifth headquarters, or my fifth home wall, and I'm happy to show you guys around. What you'll see right off the bat here, front and center, is a moonboard with the 2016 setup and a few extra colored holds sprinkled in there, some jugs, because that 40-degree angle is intense. I went with my branding colors, so the red is the Real World Climbing branding kind of thing, so I built out the grid. I'm not usually a paint your climbing wall kind of guy, but I knew I wanted to do that for at least that portion. If we come down over here at the kickboard, this is something I've actually done a handful of times on my climbing walls. So instead of framing out a kickboard with 2x4s, this is literally just a 2x12, actually several 2x12s stacked this way. And so then you can put all kinds of screw-on holds there, and it's really like a sturdy way to build a kicker. And I just found it was super easy and convenient. Over here on your left is my vert section. I'm also not a big fan of vert climbing walls because they get really boring really easy unless you have really small holes and really technical feet. But this is great for my kids. And so as you can see, my one son, his name is Gavin. He threw his name on there and he's doing his own route setting. And so it's really fun to get the family involved. And the other reason why I did so much where I normally wouldn't do a bunch of vert is I had a bunch of extra plywood and I didn't want to store it. So this is my way to store my extra plywood, is just throw it on the wall. It already had T-nuts in there and things like that. So this here is one of two volumes I have on the wall. It is pretty gigantic, and on some previous builds of my walls, it's been really nice to have kind of on big overhanging sections. But in this case, it was just taking up too much room. I used to have it over here on the other side, so you'll see that in a little bit. Now it's kind of just a little variation of terrain here. So this here is a handmade campus board. It's 5 rungs. So Ben Moon had an official do this distances of your rungs and this angle, and so I built these rungs and then put it at that 15-degree angle. I don't do like a bunch of the big pulls on it. I use campusing mainly for contact strength and just kind of hitting and latching, and so the 5 rungs has been plenty for me. So this next wall over here is at 20 degrees angle, and it's a nice mix up because this 40 degrees is really steep. And so I like to have something a little bit more technical, and I found that like 15 to 30 degrees is a pretty nice sweet spot. And so this one ended up being 20. Another thing that I've done in my builds is when I have an inside corner like this, is I like to have it come together at a point. And what that does is it leaves this weird space between two walls. And so I've always just framed out triangles. So you frame it out as triangles, and then you can cut the plywood without having to bend it or curve it. And so this is just literally just 3 different triangles made to fit that gap when the 2 angles meet at the top corner. And then again, I've got that 2x12 kicker down there on the bottom with some screw-on jibs. So I really like this angle. I feel like I can get a little bit more technical on the 20-degree angle, smaller holds, and work footwork and things like that. And then what I ended up having to do on this wall is I ended up having to kind of leave this space, but it kind of works out, I guess, in a serendipitous way, is that now when I'm climbing here, these end up being like nice jug finish holds. But then as I slide over to the right over here, there's a lot more height. And so I just built out a triangle extension to go all the way up into the ceiling portion here. So all 5 of my home walls that I built ever since my very first one have had this painting of this ninja on there. I actually inherited that piece of plywood from a youth conference that used it as like a skateboard ramp. And so I was like, hey, free plywood, let's use it to build a climbing wall. And so I've somehow figured a way to get that ninja into every single Real World Climbing headquarters thus far.
Movement Training Co.'s goal is to help outdoor enthusiasts prepare their bodies to adventure forever. And they do this through online programs, virtual consults, and more. So head over to movementtraining.co to see what they can do for you. Vision climbing is merging old school wisdom with new school technology, so you can climb smarter with Vision. One of the great things about their holds is their small and low profile. And that doesn't mean they're all crimps, it just means each one has the specific features you could want without a bunch of excess plastic taking up room on your home wall. If you want to check out their holds, head over to visionclimbing.com and also stay tuned for a chance to win a free set of holds from them, because hey, who doesn't love free holds, right?
So now we're behind the wall here, kind of seeing the guts of this. If you've kind of investigated building climbing walls, you obviously know that there's a form of framing here. And the physics of it is that when you frame it, most of the weight of the climbing wall is meant to come down into the floor. That's how I've done these walls, is just keep it nice and simple, one angle, not try to do all these fancy things. But what I do end up doing is I end up having this bracing that goes from the framing here over horizontal into the wall here. And that allows me to put plywood or wood down and use the back of the wall as storage. It would be a big waste of my garage if I just had the climbing wall, but now anything behind the climbing wall is fair game for storing stuff. So you can see I've got some gymnastics stuff in here. I got my hangboard that hasn't gone up yet, some extra plywood that I haven't found a location for yet. And that literally goes all the way back here into the dark and then curves back here behind the moonboard as well. So that's how I get access to fixing my T-nuts, fixing the LEDs for the moonboard, and everything like that. All right, so now I'm behind the wall, but I wanted to show a couple other features up here. So I put on some rails up here, so at the top of the moonboard, there's some little finishing kind of holds if you wanted to do some custom routes that aren't necessarily moon routes. And then I've also got some gymnastics rings. Can hang down here when not climbing and do some more core training and things like that. A lot of times on the outside corner of a climbing wall, it might be like wasted. So I just found a way to put another scrap piece of plywood with T-nuts in it, so I can do holds around the arete here. And then you can even do like screw-on holds literally right into the 2x4s. I've even used, on a previous build, I've even literally just had skateboard grip tape as texture so you can bump up the arete there as well. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of holds already on the wall, and I have big full bin here, a couple other small bins over there. So the whole collection has been collected over the years. I pretty much only buy used, and so I've gotten some really good deals on some gyms that have closed down that wanted to get rid of their holds, some schools that had climbing walls that got rid of their holds, and then just Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace and things like that. So what I've used over the years primarily for safety and for matting has been used mattresses. We'll say gently used, not nasty and dirty ones. So this is literally just a king size mattress. This is my big old flashed crash pad that I bought when I was in college. And I think at the time it was like the biggest one that anybody was making. For like some of these areas where, you know, you're starting but you're not really gonna fall and hurt yourself, I'd use like these gymnastic styles mats. And one of the solutions that I want to make sure with my walls when I'm building them in a garage is I still want to be able to park a car in here. You can just use webbing or use, you know, some kind of strap to literally hold the mattress up against the wall. And so that's one way to kind of keep your mattresses dry in the winter and then still be able to park a car in here. Thanks for joining me on my climbing wall. You're welcome anytime, but you gotta come prepared to climb. So, see you guys.
Thank you so much, Josh, for showing us around Real World Climbing HQ number 5. Guys, make sure you go check him out over on YouTube and Instagram. There's links down in the description below, and I think you'll get a lot out of his climbing content. All right, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. It's the announcement of our second giveaway winner, and that winner is, drumroll, Douglas Safalo. Hopefully I didn't ruin your last name, but if I did, I'll make it all up to you by sending you climbing holds from Vision Climbing and also getting you hooked up with a free course from Camp 4 Human Performance. And now it's time to give away some more stuff. This week's episode sponsor is Neon Climbing, and we're giving away this chalk bucket and a box full of other goodies and soft goods from Neon Climbing Accessories. And to make sure I get it right, Neon climbing accessories are handmade and small batch made locally in Pueblo, Colorado. We put extra care into making our products bright and right so your gear doesn't hide in plain sight and will outlast the competition. I love all the rhyming in that. I had to make sure I got it perfect. That's why I read it. So how can you win this, as well as these amazing climbing holds from Vision Climbing? They're purple glyphs. So how do you do this? Easy. You do 3 things and some bonus things. Number 1, you subscribe to Home Climbing Wall TV right here on YouTube. Number 2, comment on this video telling us something that you liked and use the hashtag HCWtv contest right here on YouTube. Number 3, head over to Instagram and follow us and our sponsors so you can stay up to date on all the stuff that we're up to. And we've made that super simple for you because we have all the links right down in the description below. Now, how do you get bonus entries? Also super easy. On the post about this episode over on our Instagram page, tag your friends. For each person you tag, you get 1 additional entry, up to 5 entries, because hey, no one wants to be that person that tags 100 of their closest friends just to win a contest. But it is an awesome contest, so here's a way you can get 5 more bonus entries. If you share the post about this episode, then you'll get 5 more entries. So that's a total of 10 bonus entries, which is awesome, increases your chance of winning even more awesome climbing gear. All right, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to check us out on Fridays for Route of the Week. And if you want to be featured in that, just put the little @ Home Climbing Wall TV on your post over on Instagram so we can show off your routes and what you're setting as well. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next week.